Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's TechBen, and welcome back to this dramatic reading of Batmare Beyond by Tatsuro. Chapter 5, Job Training. After coming to the conclusion that Rarity had somehow been reversed aged, Bruce had begun making a few speculations based on past experience and what knowledge he had managed to gather on the workings of magic. He had compiled his conclusion in a list he went over as he prepared his next move for her sake. Fact: he knew Rarity's capabilities, both intellectual and social, showed signs of experience rather than just natural talent. Conclusion: Rarity had been reversed aged. Fact: Rarity had appeared in the Batcave, in the High Magic Vault, and her appearance coincided with the complete drain of magical energy from all artifacts stored there. Supposition: either Rarity drained their energy on her arrival to sustain herself, absorbed the energy to empower herself, or the energy went to powering this end of the gate she arrived through. Evidence: Rarity's magic demonstrates limited applications, so far managing only telekinesis and minor transfiguration of fabrics to different shapes. Telekinesis also limited presently to many small objects or one large one. Nothing with total mass greater than her own. Conclusion: Rarity's magical energy quotient is drastically less than the total energy of the drained artifacts, indicating the spell that brought her consumed the energy. Final conclusion: Rarity is from another world, a world of powerful magic, and was reversed aged as she arrived in the vault. This was either a result of saving her from a cataclysm, Superman scenario, banishing a thorn in someone's side, Mythos scenario, an accidental casting, any number of scenarios, or a random fluctuation of magical circumstances, Dos Ex Chaos! Whatever the initial cause, Rarity will eventually need to make her way back to her world if it still exists, whether to continue her own life to its fullest, or because the world needs her, or function completely in a world totally alien. Course of action: begin training immediately. Having reached this decision, the only thing that confronted Bruce was how exactly to go about doing it. He knew from past experience dealing with youngsters that trying to make it a parenting directive was sure to either foment rebellious behavior or give him only an indifferent student. For her sake, he needed to find some way to make her want to train. Unfortunately, here his experience failed him, as the only ways he knew from his experience to get youngsters to want to do something was either order them not to do it after they'd showed interest, or to demonstrate that their life depended on obedience. The first wouldn't work, as Rarity had shown no interest in an activity she had no knowledge of, and the second would require needlessly terrorizing her. As willing in the past as Bruce had been to do whatever it took to do the right thing, he didn't want to take that path if he could help it, as a determined student learned better than a terrified one. Having reached no conclusions as to how to capture Rarity's enthusiasm, he did know one thing. If he was going to train her, he needed to be in better shape than he was. As per doctor's instructions, he had been taking it easy since his heart condition had started acting up, and he was beginning to get out of shape. Still, there were plenty of ways to keep in shape and get back into condition without putting his heart under strain. To that end, he began the next morning with a basic Tai Chi workout, getting his muscles back into condition for the more strenuous workouts, while also building up his wind again. After completing 3 katas, he relaxed and took a drink of water. "Father, that was beautiful!" Blinking in surprise, Bruce turned to the door, seeing Rarity standing there in a light bathrobe, her mane and tail already perfectly curled as usual. How did she sneak up on me? Bruce wondered, shocked, making a mental note to also work on getting his senses back up to their old activity as well. He wasn't that old yet. That was Tai Chi, he explained. It's a martial art focused on spiritual stability and is good for both training the body and maintaining health. Rarity smiled widely, her eyes sparkling like stars. It was breathtaking. It was like a dance in the wind. Bruce raised an eyebrow. He hadn't expected to catch her interest this easily, but he wasn't about to complain. Would you like to learn? He offered. Rarity gasped happily and clapped her hooves, though no sound came. I would love to, she said eagerly, rushing into the exercise room, her hooves making no sound on the floor. It was at that point Bruce realized her horn was glowing, and a matching glow surrounded her 4 hooves. What's this? He gestured to it. He was pretty sure it was some form of sound suppression, but he was curious about the exact nature and how Rarity had come up with it. Rarity smiled nervously. Well, sometimes you're deep in something, and I don't want to disturb you as I pass, so I put a sort of magic cushion on my hooves so they don't actually contact the floor. It slows me down a little since I have to make sure to brace myself more carefully with each step to keep from slipping, but it lets me move almost silently. Bruce didn't bother to suppress the proud smile on his face. Whether through instinct or accessing suppressed experience, she already had some grasp of the arts of ninjutsu, yet another part of the discipline he had learned to be Batman, and fully intended to teach her as she increased her skills. That's impressive. Very impressive, he praised her. There's quite a number of times in my own life that I would have liked to be able to do that. As she blushed in pleasure, he noticed a faint hum from her horn. Can you manage it without the glow? He asked carefully. Rarity blinked. I've never tried. I'm not sure how I would manage it. Bruce gently stroked her mane. We'll work on that and other things together, all right? For now, how about I start teaching you Tai Chi? Rarity smiled happily. I'd like that very much, Father, she said happily. Then stand to my side, he instructed, internally pleased at how eagerly and calmly she obeyed. We'll begin with breathing. Rarity's training over the next few months progressed well. While Rarity could manage to balance on her hind hooves to perform the hand motions with her forelegs, she wasn't able to maintain that balance for a full kata, as her body simply wasn't built for it. However, it wasn't that difficult for Bruce to take the basic principles of the art and reformulate one for her four-legged frame. Once she had achieved a certain level of mastery and confidence in Tai Chi, and his own skills and conditioning had returned, he began to instruct her on the concepts behind other martial arts. Given her small size and limited movement flexibility as compared to the human frame, most of the offense-focused martial arts were beyond her ability to learn at this time. As such, he decided to focus on defense. The first art after Tai Chi he introduced her to was Aikido, as her small frame, good leverage, and telekinesis were ideal for redirecting an opponent's force. The hardest part of adapting Aikido for her use had been determining exactly to what extent she should utilize her magic in the art. Eventually, he decided to first teach her how to utilize the art without any magic whatsoever, and leave it to her own creativity as to how best to utilize it once she understood the basic principles. The internal focus these arts granted her also put forth an answer to the question Bruce had asked at the beginning. It appeared that the glow of her horn and the hum during spell casting was because the magic was being forced through and then projected out of her horn to affect the world around her. While this was something she had to live with for casting spells on objects, her silent hoof spell could be cast by focusing the magic through her horn and then, utilizing the principles of Tai Chi, sent back through her body and into her hooves. Once she had mastered that, Bruce began introducing her to the art of ninjutsu, focusing on stealth and vital point strikes. If Rarity were to go on the offense, her small size dictated that she would have to be fast, silent, and take her target down before they were aware of her presence. It was during this part of the train that Rarity asked a question Bruce had been expecting. "Father, how did you learn all of this?" Maintaining his calm, Bruce explained as best he could. "When I was younger, I had a great deal of anger inside me. A lot of rage and pain, and..." He shook his head. "I was a bit of a mess. The martial arts gave me focus and helped me find a purpose. To use those emotions, it allowed me to temper the rage inside me into a weapon, and gave me the wisdom to use it properly." Rarity's eyes widened, dewing with sympathy. "What could have happened to make you like that?" Bruce was silent for a time. "Are you sure you want to know?" he asked softly. When Rarity nodded, he sighed. "Tomorrow, I will show you. For today, training is finished." Rarity smiled widely. "I'll make dinner then," she said happily, rushing to the kitchen. Bruce sat back, letting his body relax after the training of the day, catching his breath. Tomorrow was going to be rough. Another lovely world-building chapter. So much fun to read. And as someone who actually has been doing a little Tai Chi study on his own inside, I have a book I'm trying to get back into shape, and that was my method of choice. It is interesting to see how he would adapt that to just a four-legged frame and whatnot. Though, again, it is apparently very useful. I know it's recommended for those advanced in the years. Ooh, this next chapter is not going to be... correction. Next chapter's fun, but it is not without its baggage. Till then, my name's TechBan, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you all good luck, good hunting, and safe travels. I'll see you in the next one, my benditos.